Welcome back, you absolute legends. Okay, so today I am pulling back the curtain on a full day of eating as someone who has now been doing high-fat animal-based eating for 7 years straight. And before you say anything, no, I am not telling you this is the only way to eat. I just genuinely think seeing what a real, long-term practitioner actually consumes day to day is so much more valuable than any theory video out there. So stick with me until the very end because I'm going to walk you through timing, cooking methods, my personal hacks, and the honest reasons behind every single food choice I make. Okay, so we are currently in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is where my husband and I have planted our roots and are building our forever home. And honestly, I am so excited to eventually share more of that journey with you. Drop a comment if that is something you would want to watch, because I genuinely do not know if that crosses the line into content you care about. But anyway, let us get into breakfast. So every single morning, I grab my air fryer tray and I toss on whatever I am craving that day. Today, I am going with two of my favorite beef and clean ingredient sausages that I picked up from Costco. They are beef, not pork, which is exactly what I want. I load everything onto the tray, pop it into the air fryer at 350 degrees for about 18 minutes, press start, and that thing is working while I go make my eggs. Now for eggs, I am a scrambled egg girly through and through, and I want them rich, fatty, and deeply buttery. So I heat up my little pan, drop in a generous chunk of butter, probably a tablespoon and a half or so, and crack in 6 eggs because honestly, if I were unleashed, I could sit down and eat 18 eggs in a single sitting. I have always been an egg person. And listen, after 7 years, I have experimented with literally everything. I did lion diet phases, I did single ingredient beef only stretches, I did egg fasts, I removed egg whites and ate only yolks. I tried duck eggs, goose eggs, specialty chicken eggs, and one thing I will tell you from the bottom of my heart is that if eggs are causing you any kind of discomfort or sensitivity, please try duck eggs before giving up entirely. They are shockingly gentle on the body. They have this soft, mild flavor that you would not expect. And especially if you are working through histamine issues or any kind of autoimmune healing phase, duck eggs can be a complete game changer. Dr. Leanna actually touched on this when I was learning more about the connection between food sensitivities and animal food sourcing, and it really stuck with me. Today, I am eating regular chicken eggs because after years of healing, my gut is completely solid, and I can handle everything now. So I am stirring these eggs with a little silicone spoon in these slow, circular, flour-like motions, and watching them absorb all of that golden butter is honestly one of my favorite small moments of the day. Now, while everything is cooking, let me tell you about what I am drinking, because people always assume I am sipping wine or some kind of fancy drink. And the answer is absolutely not. I have never been a drinker. I genuinely never understood the appeal of alcohol. Even at celebrations, I skip it entirely. What I drink is sparkling water, and if I want to feel fancy, I chill it, pour it into a beautiful glass, and it feels like a luxury. That is my entire beverage situation. Okay, eggs are done. Slightly more cooked than I prefer because I got distracted talking to you, but still delicious. Now let me show you the 2 pieces of kitchen equipment I cannot live without, and I actually travel with both of these everywhere. The first is my air fryer, which is already finishing up my sausages, and the second is my Instant Pot, which is sitting right here on the counter. And inside this Instant Pot, I made a full batch of what I call my Jiggly Jello the night before. I am going to explain that whole recipe in just a minute. But first, let me plate my breakfast, because I have been really into this move lately where I take a burrata ball and just break it open right over my hot ground beef and sausages. And if you do not know what burrata is, it is this Italian cheese that has a mozzarella shell on the outside, and inside is this creamy, soft, slightly curdy filling that is just absolutely next level. It is rich without being overwhelming. It is not overly salty, and combined with the beef fat, it is one of those combinations that sounds simple, but absolutely slaps. Okay, I am eating now, and yes, I eat standing up. I have always been a stand-up eater. Something about it just feels right to me. And I want to address something because I get this comment constantly, especially on Instagram, where people say they genuinely believe I make this food and never actually eat it and just perform the carnivore lifestyle online. And I find that equal parts hilarious and fascinating. So hopefully a full day video puts that to rest. The core strategy behind my breakfast is fat front loading. What that means is I intentionally eat a very high-fat first meal because that fat becomes my fuel for the rest of the day and keeps hunger totally dialed down for hours without me having to think about it. I am not trying to lose weight at this point in my journey. My body has been running on fat as its primary fuel source for so long that it is genuinely efficient at it. That is what 7 years of consistent high-fat animal eating builds in you. Your metabolism literally reorganizes itself. Now, how many meals do I eat per day? Typically 2, but in the 2 days leading up to my cycle and on day 1, I go up to 3 meals or 2 meals plus a snack because I am genuinely hungry, and I think the best thing you can do is honor that and feed yourself. The weight loss on this way of eating is real and it is meaningful, but I always want to be clear that the most profound thing that happened to me was the healing, the skin clarity, the complete disappearance of eczema that had followed me my whole life. No more brain fog, no more cycles of anxiety or depression. And I want every woman watching this to understand that the food you eat has a direct relationship with how you feel mentally and emotionally. Animal foods changed the entire quality of my life, and I do not say that lightly. If my content resonates with you, please share it, because the more people see this message, the more lives can genuinely change. Okay, finishing up breakfast. Whatever I do not eat gets covered and stored in the fridge, because a great thing about this way of eating is that leftovers are completely interchangeable across meals. Then I have my one daily treat, which is my coffee. And yes, I know some carnivore purists will come for me in the comments, and I genuinely do not mind. I even tried a full month completely caffeine-free and felt no dramatic difference either way. I am just someone who loves a good cup of mold-free coffee, and I am keeping it. I will link what I use below. After the morning, we did the dog park and came back to the house, and I want to show you my garage fridge situation, which is basically my personal meat locker. So starting from the top, I have these incredible 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef meatballs that I have been buying weekly for about a year now from a brand I really trust for sourcing transparency. Next to that, I have my sugar-free beef franks, which are a staple. I have beef pemmican sticks, which my husband still teases me about because he says he met me in my first year of eating this way, and I was already obsessed with those sticks, and nothing has changed. And then I have ground beef patties, an organ blend ground beef, which I sneak in for the nutrient density, and my beloved braunschweiger, which I actually want to talk more about in a second. And then, in the door section, I have all my raw dairy staples. From one brand I have been loyal to for years. Okay, so the Braunschweiger. Let me explain. This is a liver-based spreadable meat product, and I know just hearing that might make half of you close the video, but stay with me because this one does not taste like iron or blood or anything people fear about liver. It tastes buttery and savory and mild and rich, and I genuinely fell in love with it a few months ago after the founder of a brand I trust sent me some to try and said it was one of her personal favorites. She was right. I am now fully obsessed. It acts like a flavor base in meals, and it is packed with nutrients that are hard to get anywhere else. Now let me talk about snacks, because this is one of the top questions I get. The best snack I have found for someone who loves crunch and chips is pork rinds. Pure animal food, zero junk. And the way I eat them is I slightly melt some butter and just dip each pork rind into it. The fat and the crunch together is deeply satisfying. And it takes something already good and makes it feel indulgent. Now, for dinner, I am pulling out my breakfast leftovers because nothing goes to waste in this kitchen. The fat on the cold meat has solidified into this white coating that honestly looks intense, but adds incredible richness when you mix everything together. I am combining the cold leftover meat with my braunschweiger as the base layer. Then I am pouring in some of my homemade bone broth, which brings me to my Jiggly Jello recipe. So what I do is I take oxtails, which I always keep stocked in my freezer, and buy in bulk whenever they go on sale. I place them in the Instant Pot and cover them with just enough water so they are barely submerged, because too much water dilutes the flavor and you lose that deep, beefy richness. I add salt and sometimes throw in a few chicken drumsticks for extra collagen and flavor depth. Then I pressure cook on high for 60 minutes. let the pressure naturally release, and refrigerate them. Whole pot overnight. By morning, it has set into the most beautiful, wobbly, jello-like consistency that is absolutely loaded with collagen, which means it is genuinely beauty food. It is good for skin, hair, nails, and joint health, and I have had so many people message me saying it became their holy grail after trying it once. And if you hate the jello texture, that is completely fine. Just reheat it into liquid broth form and drink it warm. All the same benefits. So I heat up the broth tonight, add my sardines, which are wild caught, and which I just drain and dump straight into the bowl. If you have not looked into what sardines bring nutritionally, you are really missing out. The omega-3 content alone is worth it. And I honestly am curious if anyone out there has done a full sardine fast, like a 60 to 72 hour one, because I have seen so much content about it, and in all my 7 years, I have never tried one. If you want me to attempt one on camera and document the whole thing, let me know in the comments because I would actually be down to try it. Okay, I mix everything together. I know it looks chaotic, but the flavor combination of the braunschweiger base, the cold leftover meat, the bone broth, and the sardines is genuinely insane in the best way. This is my carnivore version of a mixed rice bowl, except there is no rice and no vegetables, and everything is some form of animal protein or fat. And to close out the day, I had some dessert, which was a brown butter bark that I made earlier in the week. I poured a generous layer of melted brown butter over a baking sheet, sprinkled some carnivore granola across the bottom layer, froze it for a couple hours, broke it into pieces, and have just been snacking on it throughout the week. I will link the granola recipe I based mine off of below. It is completely animal-based. As always, everything I mentioned today will be linked in the description box, and I so hope this gave you real, tangible ideas, inspiration, and maybe even a few new foods to try. This is what 7 years looks like, and it keeps getting better. See you in the next one!